An old lady's disappearance from a nursing home caused chaos after footage from a security camera showed why. Susan was a nurse who had secured a job at a nursing home while she raised her sick little daughter, Ruby. Ruby was her only child, and since her father died in a car accident, Susan had remained single. Between working extra shifts and actually being there for her child, she had not been able to meet men in a romantic setting. She was also having a tough time keeping up with the medical bills accruing from her daughter's treatment. Ruby had a tumor growing in her head which could be removed with surgery. However, since there was little money, her mother put her up for chemotherapy to shrink the tumor. It was a temporary antidote, and the doctors urged her to let Ruby have the surgery to increase her chances of survival. In truth, Susan wanted nothing more, but she did not have the money, and she knew taking a loan would only leave them worse off. Her deliverance came in the form of an older woman who was brought to the nursing home by a hospital staff who only gave vague answers when asked about the lady's personal details. The woman was unresponsive for some time after she arrived, and Susan, who was in charge of getting her treated, used that time to get acquainted with her file. Everything appeared accurate except the age of the woman. According to her documents, the lady named Olivia was 80 years old, but in person, she looked younger. Susan kept it to herself, ruminating on what she had discovered. Eventually, she decided that someone must have orchestrated the plan to keep the old woman in the nursing home for some reason. Susan was diligent about taking care of Olivia, and after a few days, the woman opened her eyes and started to communicate. She warned Susan not to alert her family that she had awoken and instead continued to pretend while receiving more treatment. One day, Susan asked her why. "That's a long story, dearest Susan," Olivia said, hesitant to tell the nurse. "Good thing I have time then," Susan replied, refusing to be deterred. Olivia told her everything, and the following day, before Susan returned for her next shift, the old woman disappeared. The nursing home was abuzz with activity when she clocked in. "What's going on?" she asked her colleague. "Olivia is missing." "What?" Susan asked. "She simply wasn't in her room during the roll call and nobody has seen her since. We are all a bit worried because there's no way she could have moved on her own, which means she must have been taken. The doctors have requested security footage to see what happened." Susan outwardly feigned shock, but the doctors and security personnel revealed that they had recovered footage from the security cameras before she could say anything. They all sat around the IT guy who inserted the flash drive with the footage into a computer port and proceeded to tap some keys. The footage from the night before came up on the monitor, and they all watched as a beautiful woman in a white medical robe walked out of Olivia's bedroom. "Zoom in on that woman," a resident staff instructed. When the video was zoomed in, everyone froze in shock. The beautiful woman was Olivia, only she had cleaned up her persona. The whole nursing home burst out into chaos as different people came up with their own various speculations about what had happened. Susan did not have any trouble sneaking away amid all the noise. That evening, she met Olivia at an upscale hotel not far from the nursing home. "Thank you for your help, Susan," Olivia thanked her. "I couldn't have gotten out without you." "It's okay, I'm glad I could be of help. I just hope you will keep your end of the bargain." "Of course, Susan, you'll see." They separated afterward, with Olivia heading to the police station and Susan returning to her job. It turns out, Olivia was a 60-year-old businesswoman with no heir to take over the business. Her only family was her nephew John, a greedy man with a gambling problem. A week before she ended up at the nursing home, he had discovered her plans to put her right-hand man in charge of the business. It pushed him to adopt drastic measures. If she would not give him the business, he would take it. One day, he visited her home and slipped some pills in her drink while her back was turned to him. The drugs induced a heart attack in Olivia, and John had expected her to die. He had even waited a whole minute before calling the ambulance. What he didn't know was that Olivia was a very healthy woman, and the heart attack could not claim her life. When she woke up in the hospital, she arranged for the doctor to declare her in a coma. When John heard, he was happy because it meant he didn't have to deal with the guilt of murdering his own family. My grandpa was fired as a janitor after saving woman's life. I couldn't sit idly by and took revenge for him. Two betrayed women met by chance only to discover a shared betrayer and plan elegant revenge. Story of the day. Business class passengers mock poor old lady. At the end of the flight, pilot addresses her. He hastily arranged for Olivia to be taken to a nursing home where she met Susan. The day she told her story to the nurse, Susan agreed to help her by leaving some money, clothes, and makeup, which Olivia used to transform into the beautiful woman who walked out unquestioned. In return for her help, Olivia promised to help Susan pay for the surgery that would remove her child's tumor. It was a deal they made out of necessity, but it worked out for them well. Soon after, Olivia got her sweet revenge on John, who was arrested for attempted murder, and she fulfilled her promise by sending Susan's sick daughter to the best surgeon for treatment. What did we learn from this story? Greed corrupts. John was greedy, and that greed pushed him to make an attempt on Olivia's life. Had it succeeded, he would have carried the guilt on his shoulders for the rest of his life, even if he had become wealthy. A good turn deserves another. Susan and Olivia were both able to surmount their respective problems by entering into a partnership of goodwill. Susan helped Olivia escape the nursing home, and in return, Olivia helped her get her child treated. Their cooperation brought forth progress, and it emphasizes the importance of doing good to those who do good to you. Share this story with your friends. It might brighten their day and inspire them. This account is inspired by our reader's story and written by a professional writer. Any resemblance to actual names or locations is purely coincidental. All images are for illustration purposes only. Share your story with us, maybe it will change someone's life. If you would like to share your story, please send it to info@amimama.com.